So there you have it. On to our next subject, and this is something I want to really quickly talk about, and this is more breaking news. We had the Game Awards last night, which was interesting.
It was an experience.
And I want to talk about probably the most impactful piece we had of the Game Awards, and that was Hydrobot. Hydrobot was a robot with a chic hydro shaving head as a head. He probably stole the show for the Game Awards, and I feel like we're going to see a lot more of Hydrobot in the future. I've heard some rumblings that Hydrobot might be making an appearance in Super Smash Bros. For Switch when it releases sometime next year. And honestly, that would just make sense because the fan the outreach that I've seen from the fan community, that were watching it, they absolutely loved. They loved him.
Yes, I heard your shouts of excitement when we were watching that last night. And I know our team felt the exact same way.
He was great.
It was very memorable.
But on to our actually real subject here. We had 2 looks at The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild last night. The very first one was during the pre-show.
Yeah.
It was probably the most substantial thing that they had.
Absolutely.
I know that you mentioned something about kind of the order that they put them in.
Yes, and now I didn't even initially think of this. Our writer George mentioned this in the article that he wrote about the second event, which was the Treehouse event with Bill Trinan. And the Treehouse event definitely did not have a lot of meat. I mean, there was no... After the first video that we saw, which it kind of had a lot more substance to it, it showed us some new scenes and everything, and it was very vivid and a little bit more added more punch to it.
Yeah.
But the Treehouse event didn't have that. Even though I wasn't exactly thrilled with the Treehouse event, because it was kind of just this lull, and you really wanted at that point, you're into the Game Awards, you want more hype.
Yeah.
If they would have simply switched the 2 around, fine, keep the Treehouse event if you were absolutely set on having it in the Game Awards. That's fine. But build it up a little bit more. Start out with the Treehouse event, and then build it up, and end with the more punch video.
Yeah. So
yeah.
I actually agree. So what we got first, just to kind of give you guys an idea if you haven't seen it yet, and we're going to be showing you some clips of those videos in the top left or top right, assuming Nintendo doesn't claim those and take this video down. The very first thing we got was a new trailer for Breath of the Wild. It showed us some more, kind of like some of the cinematic elements of the game, showed you some NPCs fighting monsters, which I think was cool. But I think the most important things that we saw 2 female characters. We did not see their faces. We saw one that looks a lot like Link, like a lot like Link. And do you remember the rumors back before E3 that we were going to see twins, Link would have a twin sister?
Oh yeah, that was a huge thing at the time. And for a while I thought had a lot of backing to it.
Yeah.
I thought this could happen, and then it kind of died down for a while, and now I think it's back up there.
Yeah, so after the E3 trailer came out, exactly what you said. Everybody's like, oh, that rumor is totally debunked, and now we're hearing rumblings of it again. She is dressed very similar to the way that Link is dressed. I don't know if she's going to be a playable character. I think Nintendo has a few more tricks up their sleeve regarding this game.
It was a nice way, though, the inclusion of that female character in the video there, because definitely added this air of mystery.
Yeah.
We've seen a lot of footage. We've seen a lot of the same footage over and over again, but when you have new scenes like that and you're given this very brief look at a character that we haven't yet really seen, it builds up that excitement a little bit more, because we're constantly going up down. It's always like the Pokemon Sun and Moon news. We were constantly getting news out, and it was hard to get excited about it after a while, because we just kept getting more and more tidbits of news. But this one kind of built up that excitement again for Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, I think so too. There was something actually really cool too, and I want to kind of give you a parallel of what we saw. I'll give you kind of a side by side. We also saw this flying fortress that was in this trailer, and I didn't really notice a lot with it until I went on the Zelda Reddit later in the day, and I saw that it apparently looks just like the Hylian crest. Apparently it looked exactly like it. It was shaped like that bird, and I'm not doing the best explaining it, so if you're watching this in the video cast, here it is. You can see exactly what I'm talking about. I thought that was cool. We got to play the game at E3, and I'm pretty sure that the Flying Fortress we saw at E3 was probably the same one we saw in this trailer. And then I think the biggest bombshell was we have a character that we're assuming is Princess Zelda.
Yes.
We don't know for sure. Again, very tricky camera angles, but the two clues that we have.
Yeah.
Number one, Link is wielding the Master Sword.
Yes.
And number two, he is on his knees kneeling.
Yes. So, and that's the thing, that his whole his posture and just his general stance, that's what we usually see when he's next to Zelda.
So that was the first one, and that was the one during the pre-show, which should have been during the main show.
Yes. I like the pre-show was nice. I actually kind of treated the pre-show as really part of the main show.
Yeah.
I think they should really just make it all one big show instead of calling it the pre-show, because you had the meat and potatoes of the Zelda in the pre-show, and I don't know if enough people knew how to tune in earlier than the showtime.
Yeah. So then later in the show, after we found out that Pokemon Go won both awards that it was nominated for, and Fire Emblem won one of the awards it was nominated for, Pokken didn't win. Surprise, surprise. But later in the show, Bill Trinan went on stage and introduced a playthrough of The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. It was like a 5-minute, as she mentioned before. Treehouse, it was like a super abridged version. And they were exploring a shrine, I believe. It was like this underground cavern-like thing. He was fighting some monsters. We got to see Link in some brand new outfits, which I think was cool. So he had new armor.
Yeah.
The armor thing is cool. But again, for me, Link has always been green tunic, so it's going to be kind of odd to see him tunic. I say tunic. I like tunic.
It's.
I'm sure that's what. I'm sure you're right.
Sorry.
I'm sure you're right. I'm still going to say tunic.
Okay.
'Cause I like it. So it's going to be kind of odd seeing him in all of these different outfits and armor combinations, but still, I'm ready for it. I think
so. Yeah, I think that they're still very close and reminiscent to his style and just the overall feel that Link represents. So I don't think different colors are going to really throw anyone off.
But honest to God, during that 5 minutes, we didn't get anything that was majorly substantial. There was nothing like that was mind-blowing. I was a little disappointed.
I know. Me too.
A little bit disappointed.
Yeah.
Especially the fact that during the pre-show, they were saying it was going to be an experience.
Yes, because I know when I think of the experience, I think of what they always said during it was E3 this year. You're going to have an immersive experience.
That was pretty cool, though.
Oh, no, that's what I'm talking about. And that's why I was like, well, they better have like grass there then. Sure enough, they had grass. And the only thing that was missing that I said was it didn't have sunlight pouring down. But hey,
dang it, Nintendo!
It had grass and trees and bushes and flowers and everything that you could imagine in an immersive world. So when they told me an experience, I was like, wow, we're gonna get something really amazing like our E3 experience, but not really.
No sunlight pouring through. No sale, Nintendo. No. Get out of here. Get your crap out of here. But yeah, it was a bit disappointing. Yeah. But either way, I'm still excited for Breath of the Wild. I'm really curious to see who these two female characters are, even though I do have my guesses. Yeah. But hopefully we will find out soon. We don't have a release date, which is super bummer? Super
it's a bummer. It's a bummer.
I was going to say super bumming.
Oh, I like that.
I don't think bumming's a word.
It's not. Well, it
bumming
is.
A cigarette.
Yeah, see, like that.
We don't recommend smoking, though.
No, we do not.
No smoking,
we do not
folks.
back that.
But the rumor is it's delayed yet again to summer 2017 instead of launching with the Switch. I
really hope that's not the case.
The people that are giving these rumors are pretty much right.
I believe them because they've been credible in the past.
Nintendo could have easily said this is a launch title. So, but I'm sure we are going to find out for sure when the Switch event happens in January. And that's kind of a really quick topic I want to bring up real quick right now, too. They did announce we are going to get some additional Switch news coming up in January 13th and 14th, all around the world, actually. There's going to be one in New York. There's one in Paris, France. There's going to be one in Japan. And that's where we're going to get our very first look at the Nintendo Switch. We don't know a whole lot about it yet, but we do understand they are press, like invitation-only events. They will be streamed and broadcasted, though. So if we are not on the ground at one of these events, we will be providing coverage for those two.
Absolutely.
So, but there you have it. That's the Breath of the Wild segment. Anything you want to add on Breath of the Wild?
No, that covers it.
All right.